Americanism, not globalism, will be our credo.
Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple. If you and I have the courage to tell our elected officials that we want our national policy based on what we know in our hearts is morally right, we'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
Every time that I look in the mirror, all these lines in my face getting clearer. The past is gone, it went by like dust to dawn. Isn't that the way? Everybody's got the dues in life to pay. Yeah, I know nobody knows where it comes and where it goes. I know everybody says you got to lose to know how it goes. Half my life's in books, written pages, live and learn from fools and from sages. You know it's true. All the things come back to you. Sing with me, sing for the year, sing for the laugh, sing for the tear. Sing with me, just for today. Maybe tomorrow the good Lord will take you away.
has the American people hold in their hearts deep and devoted love of country, then there is nothing that this nation cannot achieve. The best is yet to come. We are looking only to the future. We assembled here today are issuing a new decree to be heard in every city and in every hall of power. From this day forward, a new vision will govern our land. From this day forward, it's going to be only America first.
Welcome back to the Kacee Allen Show. I'm your host, Kacee Allen. I'm glad to be back with you guys on this Sunday night. It is our 2-year anniversary. That's right, 2 years of the Kacee Allen Show, which was formerly the Kacee Allen Outdoor Podcast. It's been a long run. This is our 79th episode with many more to come. We're going to dive deep into my career, the show itself, and everything that we've endured over the past 2 years with politics, news, and really life itself. It's been quite the adventure. We're going to get into all that, everything that there is. But like I said, I appreciate every single one of you that has supported the work we've done over the past couple years. It's been long hours, 12-hour days, if not longer, every single day with no days off. Keep in mind, we started this show in 2023, exactly 2 years ago today. So if you think about what happened in 2023 in March, that was when Joe Biden was president, and it was the first time we really saw free speech liberalized to the point where independent journalists and independent people could form their own platforms and really have a voice of their own. It was the first time we saw that transition from corporate legacy media to really just independent journalism. It's completely changed the landscape and environment of mainstream media as we know it. Mainstream media is basically regular citizen journalists nowadays. I realized this trend really early on. I would say it was obvious during 2024, especially when Trump's campaign really started to arise and Elon Musk himself supported Trump. That was when everyone really thought, okay, this is popular to start a podcast or get into a talk show. I saw this in 2023. Media itself is at the lowest level of trust in history. I think it was like 30% at the time in 2023. It ended up going down to like 20% before Biden left office, and today it's probably even worse. But this was still at a time where there was a little trust, a little bit of stability within these companies. And it was right when Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News. I think it was like a Monday. I was like, wow, this is crazy. Tucker gets fired. Really one of the most independent voices in the mainstream sector. Arguably the most popular mainstream journalist of our lifetime. So Tucker leaves Fox News and then goes and forms his own show on the Tucker Carlson Network, the Tucker Carlson Show. He goes on X and gets 50 million views by harnessing real conversations. People are tired of the old ways of controlled media. We're going to do these 15-minute segments, and then you're out, and it's like you can only say certain things. That's completely changed. And like I said, the environment itself has changed. And someone like Tucker can sit down for 2 to 3 hours, interview people like Putin, some of the biggest world leaders around the world, which, if you guys have watched my previous episodes, I've been pretty skeptical of Tucker doing that, and I think he very well could be a CIA operative. But at the time, I was not that assumption. It doesn't matter what Tucker really is, it's the fact that he was able to liberalize this independent media and show everybody else, people like myself, that this is possible. So I saw this opportunity in March of 2023. It was the week Tucker got fired. I decided one day, I went down in the woods, and like I said, it started with the Kacee Allen Outdoor Podcast. We filmed the show literally on a bench in the woods on a slanted hill. That was like the first 8 to 9 episodes, but you have to start somewhere. We started with, talking about CBDCs, Ron DeSantis, a lot of things going on with AI, debt ceiling, obviously. I've been talking about the debt crisis since we started this, then obviously covering Andrew Tate's trial, in which he reposted us after that. So that was a very big milestone and a very big accomplishment in the show. But after the first 10 episodes, I started to realize we have to make this a little bit more professional. We started doing indoor podcasts with a TV background, cabin-like setting, and then I decided we have to take this to the next notch. Let's not just call this an outdoor podcast. In places like Kentucky, where I live, you have to deal with the winter. I started this podcast in March, keep in mind. So I had the entire year up until winter to realize, okay, this might not work out in the snow. So sure enough, by November of 2023, we changed the show to the Kacee Allen Show. Now, in effect, it's still been the same program, it's been the same messaging from March of 2023. And with the rebranding, it just changes the name. So I see it as the same show, the same program. We have the same episode numbers from the very beginning if you go and look. I actually anticipated us being at 100 episodes by now, but I guess that will have to be in the foreseeable future. I've always been a Republican, and even today I still am a Republican. And I'm sure you guys have seen my shows. I've always been conservative-leaning, nationalist, populist. I've started to develop a real nationalist perspective that's even gone further right than the Republicans themselves. If you watch my show since the beginning in chronological order, you've seen the red pill. I started really as a Republican, libertarian mindset. I've always been registered as a Republican, but I've kind of been libertarian-leaning. I was even kind of unsure about Donald Trump with the documents case on episode 10 a couple years ago. Obviously, I voted for Trump. As I started to understand, I kind of veered away from the libertarian mindset, really stayed true to the Republican Party. Now, at the end of 2023, I started getting into contact with local organizations. I started making a lot of noise on the internet with my show and having some very vocal political views. I was contacted by the Boone County Republican Party, several candidates running in races, lawyers. I pretty much got involved in Boone County local politics for the better part of 2024. So when we got to 2024, I still did my show. We're on X, TikTok, just pretty much always posting content, always working 24/7. I was eventually elected as the youth chair of the Boone County Republican Party in April of 2024. For that, I served up until this past February, in which I moved to Southgate, Kentucky, where we're at now, and I couldn't serve as the Boone County chair, which I gladly would today if I was still living there. There's only so much you can do. So, like I said, I've wished them the best of luck, and I think they'll do great. It was a great experience in local politics for the first time. The Boone County Republican Party is filled with very conservative leaders. And today, Kentucky is one of the strongest conservative states in the country. I can firmly say that because everybody supports Thomas Massie, the best congressman in the country. It doesn't matter who Trump tries to primary him with, they're not going to win. Trump could run himself against Thomas Massie, and he would lose. That's just how devoted and committed our Kentuckians are to Thomas Massie. If only the rest of the country could be like Kentucky. We're doing great things here. Campaigning for these guys was awesome because we were so successful, so liked. We were going up against the Democratic regime that was campaigning off of nothing. They were campaigning off of what? Trans rights? Yeah, that'll get you far. Only got them 30% of the vote, and then they switched candidates last minute like, nothing happened. They probably would have done better if Biden just stayed in. But it was a great time. Campaigned for all those guys, won those local races. Obviously, Trump won. It was a very successful year in 2024, I'll say that. It was successful for the Republican Party. It was successful for the conservative movement. It was successful for myself and my career, and really just the world in general, because we've finally gotten to a point where the Democrats have been defeated. The Obama regime is over. There is no DEI. There's no extensive criminal investigations on people that are innocent. You name the person, I'll name the crime. That's what it was under Biden. That's what it was under Obama. As much as I disagree with Trump's foreign policy in Israel and certain other aspects, it's much better than what we could have ever gotten under Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, anybody else in the Democratic Party. As far as I'm concerned, the Democratic Party is at the same level as the Green Party. I am actually in the belief that they will get beat by a third party in the next general election. I could see the Libertarians, I could see the Green Party, maybe even the American Communist Party for who knows. I could see them actually beating the Democrats in the next general election if they put up candidates. Because the Democrats are running off of nothing. They're burning down Teslas. They're sending out Bernie Sanders and AOC to give these chants about socialism and, America's living under an oligarchy. It's like, what were we living under 4 years before that? And I'll give Bernie Sanders credit. He does make a little bit of sense. He at least has a noble cause to make society better. But if we went by his plans, we would be bankrupt instantly. AOC is just someone who shouldn't be in any political power at all. Who wants to flood the country full of brown people and illegal immigrants and just change the demographics of America. Someone like her has no value to the political system other than that she calls out Israel, which is very minuscule because she has way too many cons and pros. If her only pro is that she doesn't take money from AIPAC and all of her cons you can't even negotiate with, someone like her is out of the question. So yeah, it would be nice to primary her. That's going to be pretty difficult in a state like New York. That's basically the reason why the Democrats had absolutely no chance against the Republicans in this election. They had no arguments. They had no debunking of what we were talking about. It was just complete nonsense. They were ill prepared. Trump wins in a landslide in the election. I predicted this a month prior in the show. We won our local races. Everything went smoothly. It was pretty awesome. But then December of 2024 comes around. And that's when we saw a major change. Elon Musk, who is an immigrant from South Africa, is in support of the H-1B visas, which allows immigrants to come in and fulfill jobs in America, which they claim are the best and brightest. You look at the jobs they fill, they're janitors, custodians, low-level menial paid jobs that pay $30,000 a year. Elon Musk has thousands of people on H-1B visas and is a proponent of this, obviously, because he is from South Africa and he immigrated into the country and is the richest person in the world, keep in mind, and owns X. Elon Musk, in light of this debate of the H-1B visas, obviously in support of this, not only does he criticize anyone that is not supporting this, bans 30 groypers, and takes away the check marks of Myron Gaines, Jake Shields, Stu Peters. Pretty much anyone that was critical of Israel or the H-1B visas lost their check marks. It was pretty obvious because Elon Musk responded to people over December of 2024. This is when the talks of Doge started, and Elon Musk and Vivek were supposed to be at the head of this. Ramaswamy parted ways. But Ramaswamy's tweet that will forever be known, they got 100 million views, how he criticized Americans for being lazy, that our culture is bad because we have too many sleepovers instead of being the math Olympiads. It was all this nonsense. It was something that someone who's not American would say. And for that, he got the backlash he should have. One tweet can ruin you. You can have the best representation, you can be supported by whoever, you can have millions of followers. The second they realize that that's not America first, they're going to call you out. And then we find out that Vivek himself is an anchor baby. Not to talk about him too much, but I will not be supporting him for governor of Ohio, that's for sure. So this whole thing was where we really saw a change, and I saw a change in perspective as well. If you saw a couple episodes ago, I was quite critical of Elon Musk and Vivek from the response of the H-1B visas. It's definitely not America first. Obviously, all of us voted for that. And the fact that they're going to inflict censorship on those who have any dissenting opinions or maybe disagree with importing more Indians to fill these jobs in America, that's a real big concern. You get kicked to the curb, you lose your premium features because you don't agree with something that's not America first, something that Democrats would agree with, something that, a Democrat like Elon Musk, who has only been a Republican for not even 1 year, would probably have agreed with, along with his Democrat cronies in the tech oligarch sector. We've talked about this before. It's pretty obvious. This whole infiltration of the administration is real. The Silicon Valley bros, Israel, is literally an infiltration of the conservative movement to allow small tech Silicon Valley billionaires and people like Miriam Adelson in Israel to get their fair share. They donated to Trump for a reason, because they wanted to dictate what he does. That's how politics works, if you haven't figured it out by now. When you accept donations, especially in the millions of dollars, that comes with strings attached, it comes with a cost, that comes with foreign policy. In Miriam Adelson's case, and with Elon Musk, he donated $277 million. Do you think he just did that because he felt like it? Do you think he gave $277 million to walk away and just go back to Tesla? Who's the number one person by Donald Trump's side at all times? Not his vice president, not his wife, not his son, not an elected official in the cabinet, but Elon Musk. Good or bad, that's just the reality. And do you think that he would be in that position if he didn't have $277 million to donate to the campaign? Probably not. Why would he be? If he had nothing to contribute, if he's a Democrat for his entire life up until the last 6 months until Trump got shot, what value does he have? His money, of course. But then that also entails Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. They're at the inauguration. They're playing cool, we're taking pictures, yeah, we're all the bros, man. These guys voted against Trump and called him a fascist dictator and called for his censorship not even 4 years ago. Zuckerberg banned him from Facebook. Bezos owns Amazon, who owns Twitch, banned him from Twitch. And it was only until Elon Musk got X back, after several months, he decided to put up a poll to get Donald Trump unbanned from the platform. Do you get the picture now? It's a hijacked administration. It's nothing to do with what we want. It's nothing to do with what we voted for. It's everything to do with where the money goes. And the money came from Miriam Adelson, who wants the expansion of Israel. They want to flatten out Gaza and take over the West Bank. That's their plan. And Trump took the money from them to allow that to happen. It's going to come at a cost at hundreds and thousands of lives that are going to be killed. Innocent ones at that. Is that America first? I don't think so. So that's the problem here. So as you understand, personally, I'm very critical of what we're doing in the Middle East, how we're bombing Yemen at this very moment, which we'll talk about later next week. I'm America first. I don't know about you guys, but this show has been centered around being America first, being for the country, speaking the truth, as long as we've been doing the show. And that's the reality, that's the truth, and that's what we're going to continue to do as long as we do this show. And yes, we're going to talk about the show itself. Like I said, 2 years running. What is the plan? The plan is to keep going. We're going to do this show at the very least until 2028. Whether it's once a week, whether it's once every 2 weeks, the idea was every single day. We're not quite there yet. Me personally, I've got a lot going on in my life. I'd like to do this every single day. I'd like to get to the point where we can do this at least every single weekday, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm going to deliver as many episodes, as much content as we possibly can. It's on a weekly basis, monthly basis, but we're going to try to eventually get to the weekly 9 p.m. weekday streams. So that's the plan. But for now, this is what we have. Again, it's done very well. I think we've been very successful. We've gotten millions of viewers, millions of great feedback, and we've really touched a lot of people by telling the truth. 2028 will be Trump's final year in office. We'll have a new presidency by then. But the plan is to cover this whole administration over the next 4 years. We're doing daily deportation updates. We're covering what they're doing with Doge on my X account at Kacee Allen. But the whole idea with the show is to deliver the truth, is to interview some of the best experts and just have some real conversations. That's what we're all about. So we're going to keep doing this as long as we can because we have to have a voice. Even though mainstream media is dying down, there is still a need for independent voices to speak up. We have to continue to say what's on our minds, what's in our hearts, because if not, we're going to be beat out by some sort of corporate regime that just has more money than us. And even with myself, I'm operating off of a very low budget, and I'm neck and neck with someone like Ben Shapiro. Go to Ben Shapiro's X account and go to Kacee Allen Show. You'll see the numbers are very similar. And Ben Shapiro gets millions and billions of dollars from the Daily Wire. He gets money from AIPAC. Not only do I get no money from AIPAC, I take no money from anybody. And I'll be straight up. The only things I get paid off of are TikTok. I get paid from views from my TikTok. I'm not getting paid to purport certain narratives. I make very good news updates. I make very good TikToks, and I get paid for my views there. I get paid a little bit on X, and the rest is viewer funded. The rest is subscriptions, locals, X, Rumble. I mean, I got people that support what we're doing, so it's viewer funded. I don't need any advertisements, and that's the thing. I have no plan to do any advertisements, especially on the show. I might do something that maybe for a friend of mine, maybe a product. You know, if I sell a hat or something like that. But I feel like what's really killing talk shows and just watching YouTube videos, especially in general, are these freaking advertisements. Like, it's just cancer. Like, you're sitting here watching a video, and then within 3 seconds you have some advertisements about child slides or something totally out of proportion in your face. And yeah, you can buy YouTube Premium for $11 a month, but is that really worth it for the viewer experience? Definitely not. So that's why we have no advertisements on this show. It's a nightmare. I literally lose my mind. When you're watching YouTube, they have their own advertisements, but then you're watching somebody else who does their own ads. It's almost insufferable to watch. Again, you might see ads on my show. If you don't have Rumble Premium, that's not my choice, that's Rumble itself. But if you have Rumble Premium, you're not missing anything. I pay for it myself for a viewer and content creator. If you're a viewer from X, which many of you guys are, there's no advertisements at all. Especially if you're sitting there just watching it live. If you want to watch a show from X, I would probably advise you to do so if you want no ads. We haven't really talked about too many news stories today. That's not really the objective here. Again, this is the 2-year anniversary, guys. This is 2 years of the Kacee Allen Show. 2 years of one of the only independent, solely funded podcasts, talk shows that are in Kentucky. And that's our slogan, the most real show on the internet. And we are saying exactly what we believe. There's nobody telling me, you can't say that. There's nothing you can say. Like, no, this is completely independent, completely self-funded, moderated by myself. It's a one-man show. I used to have a producer. I don't anymore. I can just do this myself. I don't have any reason to hire anybody. I'm possibly thinking about submitting applications for maybe some like internship program for people who want to learn what I'm doing and want to get involved in the movement. But other than that, it's like, I can do this myself. I really don't give a shit. I can say what I want. I can do what I want. The whole point here is being true. It's being free. Do me a favor. Go watch Ben Shapiro. Go watch Joe Rogan. Dan Bongino. Watch any of these guys. They might claim to be free speech warriors, but when it comes down to it, do they really respect the truth? Are they willing to have conversations about Israel, about what really controls our country? They're definitely not. You can base this off the people they interview. You can base this off of what their direct narrative is, because most of them are tied to the Trump administration. Look at these big X influencers with millions of followers, the pro-Trump guys, the people that you see on your timeline every single day. That's not organic at all. Don't just think because you see some guy get millions of views, the same guy you see every single day, that's not because people are actually putting notifications on these large influencers. Let me tell you that. They're heavily pushed in the algorithm. It's intentional. It's heavily manipulated on X. To be quite honest with you, because this has been a misconception that you can form your own career and, make a living off of X. That's not the truth. The people that are showing their payouts making $20,000 are heavily reposted by Elon. They're in this basically like echo chamber of accounts that are reposting each other to really get this narrative that people can actually build a career from this platform through merit, not by having connections. Pretty much the definition of life. I mean, it's the same thing. If you don't have connections, you're probably not going to get very far. Same thing with the digital realm. If you don't have people reposting you, you're gonna have a hard time compared to people that are getting reposts from Elon Musk with 200 million followers. If you're in that mainstream conservative circle, especially now, you're set. You're good. You're making $4,000 a month at least on X, probably more. Someone like myself who is independent and will not bow down to the Republican Party's interest, which is pro-Israel and not even questioning things like white genocide. The whole great replacement theory, we're not allowed to talk about that at all, or you get kicked out of the Republican Party, which kind of translates into our timeline right now. Like I said, we were talking about the whole H-1B visas, how that raised the question mark with Elon Musk and what's going on within the Republican Party and Trump and whether this was hijacked or not. So it gets better. Around the same time, as I was already Boone County Republican Party's youth chair, I was asked to be on the board of the Northern Kentucky Young Republicans. Now, this isn't something I heavily was interested in. It was something I didn't really support, but I was heavily asked to be pushed into it. So I said, okay, fine, I'll be on the board. Not a month goes by, somebody took like 20 of my posts on X, some that went back to 2023 that were in criticism of Israel, immigration, or raised questions about white genocide, the white great replacement theory. It was like 20 screenshots of posts that were used against me to get me kicked off this board. Again, I could still be on this board today because I'm still living in Northern Kentucky as we speak. I can't be in any position in Boone County because I don't live there, but I'm still in Northern Kentucky, which I was on the board of the Northern Kentucky Young Republicans. Now, because of my supposedly anti-Semitic and pro-white views, I'm not anymore. That's okay with me because clearly the Republican Party has been hijacked, not on the local level, but also on the national level. Organizations like PragerU, Daily Wire, Turning Point USA are not true conservative organizations. These organizations do not represent our republic and the nationalist ideology of our country. Their whole premise is to call out anti-Israel sentiment. That's one of their number one agendas. It's not even pro-America, it's not even deportations and closed borders, it's literally pro-Israel. These individuals, these secular individuals that will literally put a proponent of Judaism over Christianity will tell you that we need to support the country of Israel and send them $18 billion in foreign aid. And it's okay that they're killing hundreds and thousands of Palestinians, many of them are innocent. That's totally fine because they're defending themselves. Really? Let's be honest. They are killing people out of their own self-interest to obtain more land. Israel is operating under apartheid, and they are operating under illegal terms in international law, and they need to be prosecuted, especially Benjamin Netanyahu. He's a war criminal, and more than half the countries in the world think so, other than the United States and the United Kingdom. So that's the reality here. There's been a massive infiltration, and this ties a lot into the JFK files, which we're also going to talk about next week. We're going to talk about the JFK files, which we've been heavily posting on X. Go to my profile, you'll see everything we talked about. I posted an article, it's pretty good. But we're gonna be talking about the bombing of Yemen, how the United States is taking a heavy interest in the Red Sea, how they're trying to make themselves look tough after Biden didn't finish the job, when the people in Yemen are really just defending themselves and operating and blocking this trade route because of the response of Israel in the Middle East, leveling out Gaza, having no remorse for innocent people. I mean, I think that's a noble cause. But the United States and even the Republican Party doesn't even look to think about that, because that's a sense that we're losing. It doesn't matter what party you're affiliated with. We're losing the sense of what we are as Americans. We're losing our national identity. And we have to get that back. We're going to continue to do this show as long as we can, at the very least until 2028. We're going to speak the truth. We're going to tell you everything that is actually happening, unlike the mainstream media. That's the reality. They are paid to tell you a lie. They have no interest in your well-being, and they have every interest to tell you what Israel and what the CIA and all these big deep state interests that we talk about all the time, that's what they're paid to do. To me personally, it's been a great time. I love doing this show. I love being in politics. It's awesome, especially that I'm independent now. I can say whatever the hell I want to. I'm not subjected to anybody. It's pretty nice. I like being in control of my destiny. I like what we're doing here, but we need more people to speak up. But again, I thank every single one of you for supporting us from the very beginning, all the donations, all the support, all the feedback. It's really helped me out a lot. We've reached heights we've never could have imagined. Just to share you guys some numbers real quick. YouTube, we've reached 600,000 views on the Kacee Allen Show. Rumble, we've had 40,000 views on the Kacee Allen Show. And on X, we've at the very least reached 1.1 million views. Not just the episodes itself, not even clips. Our clips have done millions and millions of views. Someone like me who is viewer funded, I'm telling you guys, we need more people like me. There are not enough. You know, you see these whole things on Influenceable. You have people like Ian Miles Chung who are taking thousands of dollars every single day from this anonymous campaign site. He's out here promoting every single Twitter post with his millions of followers. This dude is the number one misinformationist probably on the platform, next to the Krasensteins. So that's just the reality. It sucks because X is not based on meritocracy. It's based purely on who you know, whether you can get reposts from Elon, whether you have politically correct views. That's really a concern because Elon bought this platform for complete free speech and the idea that this was going to be based off of a marketplace of ideas, whether this is advertiser based or simply just based off the platform moderators themselves, they have a sentiment to not prioritize anyone that criticizes Israel, immigration. Anything that's like too far right is almost like too much for the platform to take on. Although, I do have high hopes. You look at Jeremy Boring, the Daily Wire, they're crashing out. They're pretty much done. Independent media is literally number one. Anyone that has the balls or has the capability of just having their own program and talking how they feel will literally do better than CNN. And the only way they get any viewership is because they have Scott Jennings, who is a moderate Republican. They strictly rely on people like Nick Sorter and End Wokeness to clip their abysmal show to crack 500,000 views. That's the only way they get viewership. And to me, it's like, I wouldn't even give them attention. I don't give them attention because they're just feeding into the problem. Here's the thing. Don't trust the people that only have an X following and have no following outside of that. The guys that literally have 1 million followers on X and you can't find them on Instagram, on YouTube, or any other platform, that's how you 100% know that they're bought and sold. Because they have no other persona than the X platform, where they're getting money from. Whether it's Elon Musk, whether it's a lobbyist, influenceable. I'm producing real, independent, authentic information, which the platform was designed for, and people like them are promoting the same exact thing word for word. But other than that, I appreciate every single one of you guys. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about Yemen and the JFK files next week. It's literally too much to fit into this episode itself. This is obviously the 2-year anniversary of the Kacee Allen Show. We're going to be covering the Trump administration and everything interesting over the next 4 years until 2028 at the least. And then we'll see what happens by then.